Hello and welcome to another episode of Female Voices Life and Loss. This is Teresa today, and as we are entering the holiday season, a time filled with loss, memories, and sometimes aching hearts, today's story reminds us that light can still shine through even in the season of loss. I am honored to welcome Sara Sutherland, a woman of deep faith, creativity, and resilience. Sara lives in Southern Illinois with her significant other, Adam, and their blended family. She's a devoted mother, business owner, and a lifelong learner who has walked through unimaginable loss, the passing of her firstborn child, actually 21 years ago. Through faith, love, and meaningful traditions, which we will talk a lot about, Sara has found ways to honor her daughter's memory while embracing new chapters of life. Her story is a beautiful reflection of what it means to carry both grief and gratitude into the holidays. So, Sara, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your heart with all of the listeners today.
Thank you, Teresa, for asking me to do this.
Sure. I know this is, we've talked a little bit before I hit play. This is a little out of your comfort zone, but I really do appreciate you sharing. And we're going to talk a lot about traditions that you've put into place and things to remember your daughter that you lost as we're actually recording this 21 years ago today. So I know too, there's probably some emotions maybe that you don't feel every day of the week, but this is a day where you just give yourself grace with that and honor those emotions that you're having. So as we're talking about all this, I want you to share, just especially because we're in the holiday season. What kind of emotions, if you can remember the last 21 years, how did you prepare your heart for the seasons approaching each?
Well, I would say 21 years ago, very much was going into Christmas season after her
Mhm.
birthday and date of death. I knew that nobody could give me what I really wanted for Christmas. So it actually made Christmas a completely different feeling from that year back in 2004 today, quite honestly. Christmas isn't the same. It will never be the same as I once felt it for the first 25 years of my life. I wanted nothing but a baby under the tree in a basket, and I knew that wasn't going to happen. So I had to learn how to still be able to enjoy her and recognize her for Christmas. And quite honestly, it just started with I handed out pictures of her to people, to family and to friends, because she was here and she was real. Created a tradition and decided to do for her like I always wanted to do for all my kids, which was something my grandmother did for us as kids. And that was start an ornament collection. So that first Christmas started with going to Hallmark and picking out an ornament or two for baby's first Christmas. The ornaments continued for a number of years before, I guess a few years. And then we finally got the, what we called the Brie Tree. It's her very own Christmas tree that I decorated. For a long time, it was pink ribbons and silver and white berry ball things on it and angels, and I had a whole theme, a small little tree topper at the top sitting on these big fluffy feather ball things that reminded me of an angel in the clouds, along with a couple ornaments that grew. The ornament collection and the Brie Tree continued up until she was 18, would have been 18, so a few years ago. That was also the year of the last Christmas as a whole in my house with the family as I knew it at the time prior to my divorce. And I decided that after that, that chapter was okay to close. And as that tree goes, life just looks different now. And it doesn't mean she's not there. With every season, she would be decorated at the cemetery. I am fortunate I do have her buried across the street from my home.
Mm.
So she's always decorated for all the seasons and the holidays. And over the years, it's gotten a little less. It's not as much. But as those waves and the need to take care of her, I allowed it. She was still mine and she could still be cared for. Her pictures on the walls of my home. Her birthday would be celebrated every year, whether that be for a long time, we did the share walk over in St. Louis. Family and friends would join us, and we did that for a number of years. One year, we were gifted a a certificate to pick out a tree was given to us at her funeral. Didn't get picked out and put in probably until she would have been maybe 6 or 7. It just took a while to figure out what's the right tree and where are we gonna put it? And so some things just take time. We can have intentions to keep them alive and in our memories and do things for them, and it doesn't all have to be done right away. And it can be done and it can change over time. So we planted a tree. It's a rising sun redbud tree.
Mm. A
And
big
I
one.
like it because it has heart-shaped leaves,
Mm.
and it is green and orange leaves, and every now and then you will get I have had just that one red leaf, and it looks like this heart in the middle of the fall. It's beautiful, and she was born in the fall, she passed away in the fall. So, yeah, so we would have parties at the house, meaning like camp, a fire, chili, just a little remembrance. And what the hardest part was how do I talk about her to other people? And how do I recognize her? And how do I make her real? And how do I feel like she existed?
Mhm.
And at that time there wasn't social media. There weren't as many organizations out there that help support. And I just decided that it didn't matter what society thought, it didn't matter what anybody else thought. All that matters if I felt I needed to do it for her, I was going to do it for her. And so I will say that if that is where your heart is, your family will follow it or your friends will follow it and they're not going to make you think you're weird. They're gonna sit right there with you,
Mm.
and our friends and family did just that, and it wasn't that we had to talk about her, it was just all knowing that she existed. I would say the first thing besides getting through Christmas, which was very difficult that first year,
Sure.
is I was a huge scrapbooker, and I worked at that time a weird shift. I worked night shift, weekends, home by myself all day, learned to lean in on family to do just to occupy my time. And my aunt and I would get together and scrapbook. I found a lot of healing. I mean, I didn't stop, quite honestly. It was every waking moment. All I did was scrapbook pictures of my daughter. But it was a lot of healing in scrapbooking from the pregnancy up until her day of, I always say it's the day in the life of, because she had one day. Really, she had less than 14 hours. She was born the day before Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Day.
Mm.
But those scrapbooks, that provided a lot of healing because I was able to process emotions. I was able to journal my thoughts and feelings and wishes for her. I was able to just accept and appreciate her for the life she had.
Mhm.
And then it was the ornaments, and then it was the birthday celebrations, and then it's the picture on the wall. One year we even did family pictures with the silhouette of her with the kids and the family
Beautiful.
as though she was still there because she's still there.
She is.
Today I went and did my traditional birthday at the cemetery, always balloons, flowers, a birthday flag, and I read the next place to her. 21's kind of bittersweet. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's different.
Mhm.
It's a different one. And I've been sitting pondering, where do I go from here? What's next? How much? But think I've decided, just like all moms have to let go of their kids as they grow and they fly. I mean, I had to let go of her way of long before today, but I think some of the traditions that I held on to, I think I'm okay. I'm at peace. I'm okay with them just being done. She'll always still be here. She's in picture still hangs on my wall. I just don't need the things maybe to show me like I once did, where you have nothing to hold on to.
Mhm.
I still have her blanket, I still have her hat and the bracelets and all the things from the hospital and even her oxygen mask. It's all
Oh.
still in a trunk.
Huh.
Now and then I'll get out her blanket and I'll smell it. Whether it smells like her or the trunk, I don't really know, but it brings me close. I don't feel like I have to go through the same motions, I guess, as I once did.
Sure.
I haven't had a Brie Tree for the last few Christmases, but She still has a stocking.
Nice.
Trying to think what else I do for her. I don't know. I talk about her when I can. Sometimes I've refrained only because, depending on your audience, I don't want to talk about her for the, oh, look at you, or I don't want the sympathy.
Sure.
But that was one of the first questions I asked my OB after she was gone. And I didn't even know how to answer the question, how many kids you have? How
Sure.
many kids do you have?
Yeah.
So I quickly made that decision that no matter what, I always answer 3. And that doesn't even count my miscarriage in between.
Yeah.
But I always answer 3. And I will say my firstborn's an angel in heaven and my 2 at home are X and X.
Yeah.
And that's just what I've decided. That's what I needed.
I love
So
that.
I'd say the biggest thing is if it is what your heart says you need, then do it. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. God brought that child here for a reason, and he has them for a reason. And sometimes it's the lessons left behind or the moments of feeling the love, and also a protection for ourselves from him. Because I know that my little girl would not have, if she would have survived that day, her chances weren't there to live a life, and she could have been gone on an operating table and not in our arms.
Sure.
And just for the fact that he brought her here for us to meet, that was the miracle.
So I want to go back and talk a little bit about the few things that you did. I totally several things that you said. The scrapbooking, to me, just for the audience, that's beautiful. And I'm going to say for many people, that to me is a form almost of journaling. So it's allowing those emotions to come out onto a page. So healing. And I'm so glad that you did that, that was your creative way to honor, to remember her. Do you still have all of those scrapbooks today?
I have 2 giant scrapbooks that are probably 6 to 8 inches thick.
Oh, wow.
I'll say the other part of doing that, definitely the journaling and the emotions and getting out, it was like I got to do something for her. I mean,
Yeah,
you wanna take care of your kids, and I had
right.
no ability to nurture her, and
Yep,
it was
yeah,
my way of getting to nurture her. And yes, they get for all those family parties I mentioned, I had no problem bringing those up and putting them out on the table for anyone to look at whenever they wanted. And often you'd come in and out of the house, and there'd be someone looking through her.
that's awesome. Many women would not have the courage to do that, to put those out for other people to see because it is so personal. Um, and I love that you had the courage to do that. And I would say probably those that looked at it, their eyes were open in a different way and really became connected to her. So, yes, definitely a way to be her mother, and honor her in all of those ways, to nurture her so that other people could get to know her and know your feelings along with that. And wow, that's beautiful because whoever did look at those, I'm sure they react totally different to you, maybe, and to those other people that they have met these last, 21 years. So I love that. You mentioned a book that you read to her. I assume that that's a book, or was it a poem? The Next Place?
The next place is a book. It's very colorfully illustrated, and
Mhm.
the words are part of that illustration.
Okay.
My mother had found the book, came across the book, learned about the book. I'm really not sure what the connection was that she had. It
Mhm.
wasn't too long after Brie had passed. I feel like it might have been in the first year, if not few months. And she gave that to me. And it's just kind of talking about, I kind of tell you the don't worry about me. I'm in a better place and I'm at
Mhm.
peace and I'm now perfect and all the things aren't things. I'll say that Brie was my biggest lesson in humbling me
Mm.
in what God's plan is for us, that we can plan and we can have goals, but his timing and his events, they're going to be there. How do we get through them? That was a big, big wake up call. But just life isn't about things. It really is about love and the people that are around us and the impact we can have on them. That was the big takeaway. And from that point forward, I was not scared to die.
Mm.
There was not that I'll still say it, not that I want to. I have a purpose here still, I feel. but her being there made it less scary. But mom, yeah, so when I read that book, it just makes me feel like she's up there floating around. She's perfect. So I read it to her every year on her birthday. I did this morning. I like going first thing in the morning, sun shining on her.
Yeah. Do you
Take
always
her.
take off the day?
I don't always.
Okay.
There are sometimes, yes, I could have totally gone to work today and I'd have been
Mm,
fine. There are the years that the waves crash and pull you under unexpectedly, and there are years that and I don't mean to sound cold, but it's just another day. Depends on where you focus your mind.
sure, sure.
But there are certain days, and today being a milestone, I just don't want to interact with people if I didn't have to. I still did, actually. Went to a business networking thing this morning,
Okay.
but more so of just not wanting to have to, wanting to be able to have that ability that if it just wasn't a good day, I didn't have to
Good,
turn myself on.
good.
So no, there's been probably the majority of years I've worked.
Okay.
Milestone birthdays, I still remember taking off on her 10th birthday with the kids because it was Columbus Day. So they were off school. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it had to be Columbus Day. It was her 10th birthday, and we went over to like Crown Candy Kitchen and had
Wow.
lunch and did something fun and did that with the kids, but did it because it was for Brie's birthday.
Nice. I just totally love all the traditions that you have done. I love what you shared about even those traditions through the holidays, her tree, um, and the stocking that you still have. So you mentioned that now it's kind of, I don't remember how you worded it, like a new chapter, like she's turned 21. And just like those that have children that are 21, they kind of let them begin their own life, their journey, and you got to let them go. So do you have any idea? I know this is the anniversary. This is her 21st birthday as we're recording this. What does the new tradition look like? Do you have any thoughts as you read that book this morning to her, and you said took balloons and flowers and put the birthday flag out there? Will those that part of it continue and some of the others not, or what are your thoughts on that? Or do you
So
have any
this
thoughts yet?
Yeah, a little bit. So this morning as I read her, I just kind of said to myself and to her, I think this is going to be the last time I do this. The flowers, yes. Having something for the seasons, yes. She'll still be taken care of in that way. But no, I think it's time for the book to rest too.
Uh,
It's okay. I can talk to her anytime I want. Yeah. I think I just feel like going into her birthday this year, I've just felt like this just needs to be it.
there's a shift there.
It's just, yeah. And it's okay. And it's okay.
Absolutely. And I love that you said that earlier to the audience. Things that are your traditions are yours and do what feels right for
Yeah.
them individually. I think that's super important for people to know. Like you do not have to don't feel bad because your child is not buried near you or maybe buried at
No.
all, and don't feel bad that you don't get flowers every year or you don't do this. Whatever you do is best for you. Just wanna
Yes.
reiterate, this is what was best for you. This was what was best for Sarah to do.
Yes. Yeah, there's all kinds of ways
Oh, yeah.
to do for yourself and what your specific situation is. I mean, it may just be I love willow tree angels. I was gifted a number of those too. Actually, last year I packed up her angels and they're in her trunk. But tomorrow, whether that's the light the candle for the wave of light. I've known about it. I never really participated in it because her birthday's the day before. But that just might be the way I go forward. I don't know. We'll see what next year brings. But I
Yeah.
will cheers to her with a glass of wine tonight for her 21st birthday
Yeah.
because that's what I'd have been doing with her, probably,
Yeah.
potentially.
Whether there's wine in it or there was sparkling juice or
Whatever that
whatever,
would have been,
would have been for
some
sure
symbolism
that
there.
that type
So,
of celebration. Yeah.
yeah. And I will say too, back to the Christmas tree, the other thing I didn't mention is her ornament every year was what her gift was. That was always in her stocking. So every year, and I always picked an angel ornament. Well, not always, but for the most part, they were angel ornaments. I really liked the Mary's angels. That was just me.
Hmm.
It was always in her stocking. But as I had children, every Christmas, my other babies were pictured in front of that tree. So they knew every year, okay, we got to get a picture with the Brie Tree. So I have that for all those years. I will say that I made a reel for my kids
Yeah.
because she was real, first of all.
Yeah.
I didn't want my kids to tiptoe around hard things. I didn't want grief to be so scary. I didn't want death to be so scary in the sense of, I mean, serious, yes, but not in the sense that the world is ending when we lose someone we love. My kids talk about her. They've never met her,
Yeah.
but my kid, and I think that part's pretty amazing because
Yeah.
if nothing else, I wanted them to know that life presented hard things that we don't get to choose sometimes, but that there's hope and there's still life to be lived beyond that. And if it has done anything for my kids, I hope they can be sensitive to other people. And
Yeah.
I'd say out of everything, it was me doing those traditions and making Brianna part of the family and still including her that taught that to my children.
I love that you have done that with them. Yeah, I would say that's probably been very, very beneficial to them and will continue to be beneficial to them as
Yeah.
they continue their life. And it just, I could feel the warmth in your voice when you said that they know her. Even though they never met her, they know her and they honor her. I think is what you
Mhm.
say. They honor her, and how that warmed my heart, so I could only imagine how it warms your heart to know that, they're right there with you.
Yeah, I actually had a text from my other daughter this morning. "Hi, mom. How are you doing today?
Mm,
I'm just checking on you."
good. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. So tell me, you have a very strong faith. How has it changed, I'll say, evolved through the last 21 years?
Oh, it's definitely evolved, and it's ironic that you said this because I was reflecting on this a lot after church on Sunday.
Mm,
I've always had hope, and I've always had faith, and I learned that my baby wasn't coming home with me, or the chances were, from about 18 weeks of pregnancy, and I carried her to 39 weeks. I never once for me, terminating was not an option. I wasn't gonna live with the what ifs. It was a lot easier to say, "If this is God's will, I can live with that." I prayed a lot.
mhm,
I may not have understood. It didn't feel fair, but there was something that gave me peace. I knew she was going to a better place, and there was just so yes, it was just the faith. Now, all the lessons and the learnings came throughout the years after. I miscarried my second about 4 months later, very early on, and I kinda I'm a I reflect a lot, and I try to understand a lot. And I kind of felt like it was God's way of saying, "You're not ready yet." Went from a husband and a wife to that were supposed to be a mom and a dad that all of a sudden didn't know what to call themselves. And that first Mother's Day, I didn't even know, do I get to like, I am a mom, but am I a mom? I really felt like it was a way of him telling us to we needed to figure that out first. I would have dreams. A lot of thoughts come in my sleep, to my mind. And I still remember laying in bed one night asking God why. Like, why doesn't everybody have to experience this? At the time that I was pregnant with my daughter, there were some things on the news going on that mothers and parents were doing to their children, as I think there was a woman around that time that had thrown their baby in a dumpster. There was a man that had taken his young babies and I think drowned them in the river or in the mud of the river or something to that effect. And at the same time, Oprah has miracle babies on. Then there's this mom that's lost all these kids to a certain condition. I can't remember what it was. And I just remember thinking, this isn't that bad. This
mm,
isn't that bad. And so as I laid there that night thinking about why, like, it just doesn't seem fair, but it's okay. Not everything in life is fair. I remember asking, why can't everyone experience this? Why can't everybody get this? And then I'll say, his voice says to me, if everyone experienced it, the experience would change.
Mm,
Meaning, if we all had to go through all the same things, we'd never know how to appreciate the things we should appreciate. It would be a norm. And if everything's a norm, how do we feel? How do we how do we get our wake ups that we need that humble us in life? So I just knew that that's what was his plan. I didn't understand it, but in order to have the peace that I needed in my life, I needed to just accept it. And I did. And I just do that in the way I talk about her. Obviously, over the years, emotions change. I mean, early on, it's all raw and fresh, and you can't barely say a sentence without sounding like a snotty, garbly, crying mess
sure.
to here we are 21 years later, and I can look at you straight face and not show any emotion. And it's not that there's no emotion, it's that it's been processed over and over and over through all the many years of storytelling. They say you can pray, but God gives you what you pray for. It just doesn't always look like the way you asked for it.
Sure.
I
Sure.
prayed every day for a miracle leading up to her birth. And what I figured out doing her scrapbooks is that she was my miracle because she shouldn't have been born. She could have easily been miscarried. She didn't develop in all the ways she was supposed to develop. And she came out with 10 fingers and 10 toes and a beautiful angelic face.
Mm,
Her insides weren't in the right places. And she really was the miracle. And then throughout life, yes. So I would say the most ripped apart I've ever been is twice in life, and it was with her and then going through my divorce. But if you're willing to reflect and willing to really listen to what God's trying to teach us, I think that's when we find that there's something more out there. And
yeah.
I'm still learning. We all are still learning, right?
Every day. Every day is a continuous. We think
But
sometimes that we have it and we don't. We
I
don't.
would just say you have to put yourself in the space to hear it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Was I
For sure.
always faithful in going to church every day? No, I wasn't. Did I always have faith? Yes. Yes. But over the last 3 years, having my butt in the chair at church for the sermons, I'll tell you what, they've really hit home and they really make you start to see things in a different way if you let it. So I would just say it's just being open. It's just not letting the hard stuff consume us. It's ugly. Grief is ugly.
Yes.
It's really ugly in the moment, but I didn't wanna live in a heart that was ugly, and that was part of it. It's just letting it be and being able to appreciate it and life different. My biggest thing of all for Brianna is dragonflies.
You mentioned that before we hit play. So tell me, yeah, share that. Share that.
I always liked dragonflies.
Uh-huh.
I was reminded that I like dragonflies by looking around and realizing the things that I had with dragonflies before Brianna, but they flooded my yard after she
Mm.
passed. And now they come when life is hard.
To give you hope, or what do you feel when they come?
It's just been this surreal thing that now I just say hi. It gives me a smile on my face and I feel a little bit extra warmth in my heart. And then there's various meanings for dragonflies, and I just determined they say so much about my life.
Yeah.
But they are my reminder for her, and it's just the visualization of the angel on the wings. That's one of the things. It talks
Mhm.
about a lot of life journey and transformation, and that says a whole lot because that's what that started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I am better that I had her than I would have been if I hadn't, and I think about that all the time. I would never wish what I went through on anyone. I never felt that I have the worst story out there. I always feel like someone is going through harder things than I ever have, but I would go through it all again if I had to. Because what came from it, you can't
Yeah. Yeah. You've been through a tremendous amount of transformation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to say you may not show emotions with tears and sobbing and all that, but the emotions in your voice when you speak. So um so I can definitely tell there's still that heartache, and it's changed through the years of how it's expressed and talked about.
Hey, after more kids, I always say she was the easiest one to raise.
True, to raise, but not the
I
easiest
didn't have to
one
raise
to
her.
emotionally, maybe.
Sometimes I think she might have been the easier one emotionally too.
Okay. Well, probably through
You
different
just never
stages
know.
of their life. Yeah, for
Right.
sure. For
No, she's a blessing. She was a blessing. She still is.
sure. Yeah, for sure. So as we kind of wind up this episode, you've said multiple things already, but I want to kind of have you summarize some of those things. So if someone is listening today and they're entering their first holiday season without their loved one, what words of encouragement or peace would you offer to them?
They're with you. They would want to see you have joy. You can incorporate them, whether parent, spouse, grandparent, child. Do something that you enjoy doing with them or you would have wanted to do with them. And know that no one has to approve but you.
I agree with that. And I love that with your family, you did what you needed. And I think you said they came along. They
Mhm.
were okay with it. And I would say to the listeners, if they don't, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Then you do it anyway.
It's for you. It's
It's
for
for
you
you. And
and them.
and then it just may be that you don't share that part of you and your loved one in the
Mhm,
same way with them
mhm.
because you deserve to celebrate and recognize in the way that's most meaningful to you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Sarah, I want to just really thank you for sharing such a tender time, a faith filled conversation. Your story is a gentle reminder that while grief may change over the years, love remains steady. Her love for you and yours for her is very evident. And it's okay, really, to both miss and celebrate those loved ones, especially during the holidays. And for the listeners, if this episode spoke to your heart, please take a moment, follow, subscribe, share this episode of Female Voices with someone who might need comfort and hope this season. And if you find that you have a story to share, reach out to us because I want to allow you to share your story as well. So until next time, may you find moments of peace, comfort, connection, and gentle joy, even in the spaces where love and loss meet.